Welcome to Back to You. I'm your host, Ann Jones, nervous system coach, former registered massage therapist, and certified fitness coach of 16 years, and someone who knows what it feels like to constantly abandon yourself when life gets overwhelming. This podcast is for high-achieving women who know what to do, but still find themselves overthinking, overworking, people-pleasing, shutting down, stress eating, doom scrolling, or starting over every Monday. Here we talk about the real reason consistency feels so hard, how to regulate your nervous system in real life, and how to stop disappearing on yourself the moment things get stressful. I'll be right here with you as you build self-trust, create sustainable habits, set better boundaries, and learn how to stay grounded, calm, and connected to yourself no matter what life throws at you. You'll always get honest conversations, practical tools, nervous system support, and real-life strategies you can actually use. Let's get into it. Okay, I want to talk about something today that I think is massively overlooked when it comes to nervous system regulation. And honestly, I think it's one of the reasons that so many women feel constantly overstimulated, emotionally fried, reactive, or like they never fully relaxed. And it's this. Most women never actually transition between roles. They carry one nervous system state directly into the next part of their day. Work mode into mom mode, caretaker into partner mode, stress mode into bedtime, productivity into recovery and rest. This looks like finishing a Zoom call and immediately answering your kid in the same clipped voice that you were just using to hold it together professionally. It looks like closing your laptop but still mentally arguing with the email that you got at 2:13. It looks like walking into the kitchen to make dinner while your jaw is still clenched from work. It looks like getting into bed while your body is still trying to finish the day you actually never completed. And the body never fully catches up is the thing. I actually started realizing this years ago when I was working as an RNT in clinic and my daughter was little and at the nannies. And I noticed that if I went directly from treating patients all day into immediately driving in traffic and picking her up and going into mom mode, I felt totally fried. It was exhausting. I felt touched out. It was mentally very loud. I felt reactive. I felt overstimulated. And this wasn't because I was even trying to be some perfectly regulated Zen mother. I was just trying to cope and survive. I was just trying to not to walk into my experience with her feeling like my skin was buzzing because there's something very specific about spending your whole day being present for other people's bodies, energy, pain, stories, tension, needs, and then getting into the car, getting into traffic, and being expected to instantly become a soft, patient, playful mom, right? I loved being a mom. I love being a mom. I wanted to pick her up. Like I looked forward to it all day, but my body was still in output mode because I had no transition. So I started building in this idea of a transition period at the end of my workday. I would schedule in my calendar. So I had like limited childcare. I had limited hours. I had very specific times when I took patients. I was fully booked with patients. And so I would intentionally only book until I think it was like 30 to 45 minutes before I actually had to, at the very last minute, had to leave to go get her from the nanny or from daycare. And I would leave this time after my last client to finish my charting without rushing. I do not like leading charting until the next day. I kept a yoga mat in my treatment room. I would roll out my yoga mat and do yoga in the treatment room, or even just roll around. Honestly, I would do a guided meditation. I would let my body catch up before leaving and stepping into the next role. So that 30 to 45 minutes wasn't, I wouldn't call it self-care. It was the bridge between who I had just been required to be and who I wanted to be next. And honestly, at the time, I didn't even fully understand nervous system regulation yet. I didn't realize that that was part of what I was doing. I just knew that it changed how I entered my evenings. And then over the past several years, I started seeing it with clients all the time. So in my coaching, one of my clients was an early childhood educator working with babies all day. And she would come home stressed, thinking about work dynamics. So her transition ritual became a very mindful shower after work. Yes, partially because she wanted to feel physically clean, wash off germs after being with babies all day. But it became symbolic too. She would literally visualize washing the day off of her body and then walk into life with her husband and herself. Another client of mine worked at a bank, and her transition ritual was changing from her heels in her office into sneakers after work. Super simple, but she was mindfully transitioning from her work mode into her mom, wife, herself mode. Super simple. So her nervous system started associating heels with work and sneakers with home. And honestly, this is how our nervous systems work through repetition, association, sensory cues, and patterns. So now we teach transition rituals with clients. And so I wanted to share it with you too. Because if I'm being honest, high achieving women are terrible at transitions. They're always trying to multitask, which I honestly think you should never do, literally. They're carrying the emotional energy of one role directly into the next without ever closing the stress cycle first. And then they wonder why they get burnt out or constantly feel on and have trouble turning it off. So, for example, I have lots of clients who are teachers. So, for teachers, maybe it's sitting in the parking lot for 3 minutes before driving home. One hand on chest, one on belly, deep breath, maybe for the duration of the song, no phone. If you are a business owner, entrepreneur like me, maybe it's closing the laptop and going for a 5 minute walk around the block before entering family mode. I have another client who said that she used to stop at the mailbox and pick up like in her car and pick up the mail on the way home. And she changed it to driving home, leaving her car. And then this is her transition, is walking to the mailbox, like without her phone or anything, getting the mail. And then by the time she gets home, she's like ready to shift into home mode. If you're a stay-at-home mom, maybe it's changing your clothes, washing your hands, lighting a candle, making tea, sitting outside for 2 minutes, taking one intentional breath in the driveway before walking into the house. And the important thing is this: your transition ritual does not need to be impressive. In fact, it shouldn't be impressive. It just needs to tell your body, we're safe now. We're here now. We're allowed to shift gears now. We're leaving that behind. It's closing the loop because your body needs help to transition out of hypervigilance, especially if you're a woman who spends most of her day managing, anticipating, caretaking, performing, problem solving, or emotionally holding space for everybody else. And honestly, I think this is one of the reasons so many women end up binge eating and scrolling at night, because it's the first moment all day their nervous system finally slows down enough to feel itself. And we perceive it as, I need time to myself. I need this time to myself. Because, yeah, we didn't take any all day. We didn't create a transition all day. So we tell ourselves that's what's happening, but then we slide into our self-protective behaviors, our SPBs. This is also why women stay up too late, even when they're exhausted, because they're looking for a feeling, right? You don't need to stay up longer. You're telling yourself it's self-care, but it's not self-care. It ends up, sometimes it could be, but usually it's self-sabotage. And it's not because you're searching for entertainment by binge watching TV. Sometimes you're searching for an exhale. And transition rituals help create exhale moments earlier. They help you to slow down and regulate. They help the body feel completed instead of constantly carrying that stress forward, bumping it forward. And this is where so many women misread themselves. They think, oh, I'm so irritable. I have no patience. Like, why can't I just enjoy my family? Why do I want to hide in my room? Why do I feel resentful when nobody has technically done anything wrong? But often it's not because you're ungrateful or impatient or bad at relaxing, like I used to think. It's because you never give your body a moment to complete one role before demanding it to perform the next one. You didn't transition. You just shapeshifted under pressure. It's really just multitasking, trying to perform too many roles at once. And high achieving women are very good at shapeshifting. You can go, from coach to mother, employee to partner, leader to caretaker, problem solver to bedtime story reader in the span of 14 seconds, particularly because we're on our devices always available. That is freaking exhausting. And your body, your system, can't move that fast. It is still back there holding the last conversation, the last deadline, the last mess, the last email, the last thing somebody needed or requested from you. So no wonder you feel overstimulated. No wonder you want to disappear from your phone and live in the woods. No wonder bedtime feels impossible. Your body's being dramatic. It's still carrying the day. And this is why transition rituals matter. They help create exhale moments earlier. They give your body a cue that says, okay, that part is complete. We're here now. And honestly, tiny rituals can completely change how you experience your life. Not because they're magical or there's something very special about what the ritual is, but because repetition teaches the nervous system safety. We're just little toddlers inside, right? We like a structure, a routine, and repetition. So if you are listening to this episode and you realize, oh, wow, I don't actually transition between any parts of my day. I just drag one version of myself into the next role and I hope that I can hold it together. Good. That awareness is the first doorway. So this week, my invitation to you is, don't try to overhaul your life. Just ask, where do I need a bridge between work and home, between parenting and rest, between being needed and being with yourself, between output and receiving, and then choose one tiny transition cue. 3 breaths in the driveway, a shower after work, a walk around the block or to the mailbox, changing into your comfy clothes, closing the laptop, putting one hand on your chest and one on your belly before you move on. Tiny, repeatable, realistic. This is how the body learns, I don't have to carry everything forward. And if you would like support doing this work inside your real life, not as another thing to add to your plate, but as a way to actually take this off your plate and brain and finally understand the moments when you leave yourself, I have space for one private one-on-one coaching client right now. This is the work that we do together. This is what I do with my clients. We look at your real life and patterns, your real nervous system, your real capacity, your real roles. And I don't tell you to do less or blow up your whole life. We build practices that help you come back to yourself in the middle of your actual life. So you can book a consultation through the link in the show notes, or you can send me a message on Instagram at @AnnJonesFit if you know this is the support you need. And if this episode made you think of someone who walks through her day carrying everything and never actually exhaling, please send it to her. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here and listening. I know there's a million other things that you could be doing. I love you. Bye.